let me do a quick introductions. So we are a Singapore-based consultancy firm that help businesses to scale in Southeast Asia. So we currently have offices in Taiwan and Thailand, as well as one coming out in Malaysia. Okay, so on behalf of Blackstone Consulting, Align Group, and Manifera, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you today. So we appreciate you taking time off your busy schedule to join us today. So throughout the discussion, if you have any question, please feel free to drop the question at the chat box. We will get the panelists to address it at the end of the session. Okay, so our objective today is to find out how you as an entrepreneur can adapt when the globalized economy has been disrupted by various shutdowns that's happening right now. So today we have invited a very interesting group of panelists here, so who come from various fields. So we have Boon Xiong, founder and managing director of Align Group. Hi Boon Xiong. Boon Xiong, you need to unmute your mic. Thanks.
Hello everybody.
Yeah, so they are a HR consultancy firm that is based in Singapore. So we will have here founders and director of Manifera, a Singapore-based software development house, and then also lastly Paddy, my partner at Blackstone Consulting.
Hi everybody, Paddy here.
Okay, so before we begin, maybe perhaps we get each of the speakers to give us a further brief introduction about themselves. So could we start with Paddy, please? Thanks.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Jocelyn. Okay, yeah, my name is Paddy Tan. I'm actually one of the co-founder of Blackstone's Consulting. We started this company pretty young, about a year plus. I came from a mix of a background where I started my own mobile security software, and then that was in year 2005. And did the exit in 2011. And subsequently from there, I continued to do some investment, mainly in Hong Kong and China, and some of them in Southeast Asia, and make a couple of exits. And around 2017, that was I decided sort of like, why not just come back to Singapore, set up my own business here, and bring some of the experience that I had in sorting out companies, fixing companies, restructure companies and stuff like that, and then bring it over. So this is also where I started these my businesses here, and along the way I got my co-founder Jason, who joined me, started as an intern, and then now my co-founder, and also the other co-founder Shelby T. And so this is where I am today, and now we are working quite closely with different clientele from Greater China, from Taiwan, China, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Southeast Asia countries also. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the introduction. Can we have Boon Xiong to give an introduction? Thanks.
Sure. Hello everyone, I'm Boon Xiong from Align Group. So for ourselves, we are the fastest growing management consultancy focusing on people. So we are in the top 50 list in the Singapore Straits Times fastest growing, as well as the Asia Pacific Financial Times fastest growing list as well. So most of our projects in Singapore is with small businesses, small medium businesses, about 90% of them. And then the rest is with the larger organization, including like Prime Minister's Office of Singapore, this National Trade Union Congress, SIA. So I myself was actually from Singapore Airlines, SIA before. So having that broad-based perspective as well as learning, I think it helps us a lot in terms of providing better advice to companies in terms of structuring their companies. So we work very closely alongside government of Singapore in many areas to continuously improve human resources of the country. Because ultimately for Singapore, the most important or probably the single asset that they have is human resource. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Boon Xiong. Hira, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Herre Roelevink. As you might suspect from the name, I'm a Dutch guy, but I'm already living for 12 plus years here in Singapore with my family. So in the past I have worked with companies like Continental and Siemens, and about 6 years ago I started to set up Manifera software development. And Manifera is a custom-made software development company. We make bespoke solutions like administrative solutions, matching platforms, and also e-commerce solutions. So yeah, last year we had a good winning. We won the challenge of the United Nations challenge, which was done in Kuala Lumpur. And for that challenge, we are currently developing a marketplace for the South Pacific region. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all for the introduction. So let me begin by asking the panelists here, what is the most common concern you have heard from your client? I understand that each of you, you're focused on different area of business, dealing with client of all size. So perhaps we can start off with Paddy, then we'll go on with Boon Siong and Helia.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest issue here, take for example, now I guess most of us are actually at home, or probably except Boon Siong is probably in the wine place with the background.
My own place.
So I think one of the biggest concern that everybody has today is that what's next. I think probably some of us are already sort of got used to it, working from home, and probably see the businesses that we've been building sort of like, you got stopped and got paused overnight. I think the question here today is more of like, what's next? I think this is probably more on everybody's mind. I think if you see the lockdown thingy or circuit breaker, whatever you call it, it creates quite a precedence that I mean, something that nobody actually sort of expected, and this resulted in a lot of us are probably not mentally prepared, and not everybody have actually a good cash flow to run. As much as a lot of people keep advising, saying that you need to have a minimum 3 to 6 months cash flow, but what a lot of us probably did not anticipate was that when your cash flow, even if you have a good 3 for 6 months, but the problem is that your sales is not coming in. I think this is also the number one concern that a lot of people has. If your sales is not coming in, whether you have how much of a cash flow, it doesn't make any sense, because you are basically going to pay your renter. I mean, subsidies aside, you're still going to pay renters, you're still going to pay employees, you're still going to pay everything. Even all of us working from home, you still have to pay electricity bills, you still have to pay everything, and nobody should be working for free. I think the big question here is that what's next is that if this is going to last longer, the question here is the longer is how long? Another 1 month, another 2 months, another 3 months. Because this is a virus that's going around. It doesn't mean that if the government lifted the circuit breaker, it means that all of us are back to normal. In fact, it's not. You have to basically wait for the whole entire world to go back to the norm. Then probably some of the business activities will continue. And while we are all waiting for that to happen, we probably have to evolve the way we've been working. Like now, interestingly, all of us are having sitting. I'm not quite sure how many of you are actually wearing pants. Okay. Probably on the top you're wearing jacket, but probably underneath you're actually wearing short pants. But I'm saying that the biggest concern now is that I think cash flow is one of the biggest issue, and also not to forget there's a huge abundance of talents that as a company we accumulated with the knowledge, with the experience that we all have. So I think any of the bosses will probably worry about, if I were to let go my people just to save that salary, what happens if the thing comes back, and then do I have the opportunity to hire them back? And so is it a short term, mid term, or a long term? I think this is the thing that a lot of people are having on the head, and I may not necessarily have an answer, because of whatever answers that we're going to have, there will be a lot of trial and error all the way until either you run out of cash, or your people start leaving you, or you have to make the very hard choice of abandon everything that you have built on for the past years or decades.
All right, thank you for your sharing. So, Boon Siong, would you like to share, what is the most common concern you have heard from your client?
Sure. I think business aside, like what Paddy has shared, right? We summarize in this way: is a balance between survival and innovation. So this is something that companies are urgently looking at it. They need to be able to survive. At the same time, they need to be able to innovate very fast. They need to relook into their own business model. How much can they change, and whether their team can adapt to it. So what we face is mainly, I'll say, since I'm from HR side, I'll talk about the people side. One is, of course, how do they restructure their manpower to stay relevant? Because number one, whether the team is even capable of delivering whatever new pivoted business model that they're trying to do. And can they adapt? And even if they adapt, can the managers, the leaders manage it? Do they know what's the direction? Because a bit goalless for many people. So without goal, without clarity, and a lot of these changes that happen, teams get a bit stuck, and that's something that is should be avoidable at all costs. But no matter what, it's something that they have to face it. The other issues that many companies face, they'll be very blunt to us, tell us that it's about managing payroll, right? So when do I have to make the hard decision, how to do it, so that I'm compliant with ministry requirement? And do I want to even do it at the first place if I have the ability to stay for longer? Because I don't know about my point of view, my term. Is it long term, medium term, short term, like what Patty said? So when should I start to take action? So I think these are the common issues that we hear from our clients. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So here, what is the most common concern you have heard from your client?
A little bit in line with the previous speakers. Yeah, the one concern is indeed how long will this period take? Because as long as you do not know how long the period will take, you can actually not adjust your strategy in a good way. You don't know how long you have to hold on and how long you have to sustain this period. On the other side, I get a lot of questions or a lot of concern is how can IT or how can e-commerce help me with surviving through this period? So a lot of companies, they have the idea of pivoting slightly their company or pivoting their services and their products in such a way that they can make use of web shops or other e-commerce solutions to still continue their business. And you have seen, and there's quite some examples in China already of companies who are doing that. They are putting all their products and services online. They are even having all their salespeople doing live streams all the time online. And for some of those companies, some of the beauty-related companies, they are even able to make more revenue on a monthly basis than they were with the brick and mortar shop. So that's very interesting. So those are the concerns / questions we get.
Yeah, I mean that's very interesting. I think everybody used to be do not like digital, and they have to do it. Like even in Singapore, we have the Facebook group, quite a popular one, Hawker United, where all the hawkers will send in their orders, letting everyone know that they do delivery right now. Yeah, all right. So thank you for sharing. So Boon Siong, understand that at Align Group, you guys have built a community called Bosses Learning Circle. So whereby you have business owners from various industry in Singapore gathered together for events, probably a drink in your whiskey bar. They recently opened. Yeah, so I'm sure you have heard at least a couple of them actually talk about reducing manpower due to the drop of sales and uncertainty ahead. So I would like to ask, when should one actually make the decision on cutting manpower? Or is there any better alternative?
Sure. I think, first of all, we have to have a very honest assessment of our own financial runway. Okay, so how long can you last? Assuming worst case scenario, that means that there's no revenue coming at all. How long can you really last? Okay, and whether you're willing to take loan to continue to cover it, or like some companies, what they do is they went on hibernation. So they just close everything and then just go hibernate and then wait for the spring to come. Of course, I don't recommend the second method, but again, it really depends on individual business owners. So you need to be very clear about your financial runway and be decisive when it comes to triggering those actions. Procrastinating it, delaying it for fear of don't know how to communicate with your people or don't know how to do it right. All these things are not good excuses to delay. So you have to be very decisive on that. General rule of thumb is retrenchment should be last resort unless you're really running out of money and you don't foresee that your business will pick up after this. Okay, because it would never hurt you beyond current cycle. I think you go into what we call a vicious cycle of a negative culture, and your people will start to think about themselves more than ever. So I think this, I won't say it's anything wrong, but consider that as a last resort if you really need to. Okay, all right. But what can you do in the meantime? So there's a slew of other methods one can consider. Probably you have thought about it. So one is actually it depends on what you foresee in your business. If you foresee that your business, once this whole episode over, you need to pick up because there's a pent-up demand, like what happened in SARS in 2003. So many event companies, they get stuck for 6 months, but the moment that the whole thing is lifted, suddenly everybody goes for it. So for those companies that anticipate this type of outcome, then you can consider, for example, let your staff clear their annual leave for now. All right. So later on, when you need them, they don't go away. Very fair. Or if really like you're running restaurants or really running some outlets where, like for example, in Singapore, let's say you're running a spa and you can not have any customer anymore, and you know clearly that they can't do anything at home. So then you can consider what we call no pay leave as well. All right. Of course, the other thing is generally companies, when you look at a financial runway, they look into what we call pay reduction. Generally, our recommendation is that keep it in a tiered format. So starting from the top, and usually the top will have the highest cut, and then as you trickle down. We will still say that generally apply to everyone so that everyone is in the same ship. If at the lowest level, if you feel that the staff is really surviving, keep the cut to minimum, but I'll still say even with $10, $20 be a gesture, so that will be helpful as well. The other whole thing is that you want to put everyone in the same boat. And finally, there's also this strategy called job redeployment. So people move their staff to different roles, readapt them, send them for training. I think in Singapore itself, we are fortunate because I think when we send for training, there is certain fee being paid. Okay, the cost is subsidized, and some of the redeployment of jobs actually, company can also get some salary grant support as well. So some company will use this more creative method to lower their costs. Yeah. Right. But before I end, maybe I'll just say that the key point is that in this whole process, in your decisions, keep an open communication. Okay, communication is the most important aspect of it. Yeah, in fact, in the line group, what we do is that we meet, our whole team meet every morning like this. We meet every morning. So communication is very critical at this juncture, not only to keep things moving, but also I think to sustain our own sanity, in mental well-being. So, yeah.
Yeah. So no more shopping malls for everyone. No more parks also, right? All right. Thank you. So we know at the current state, there's no such things as business as usual. So as pointed out by the speakers over here. So this is not forever, but definitely it is on survival mode for most of the people right now. So my question to Paddy is, as an entrepreneur, which aspect of the business model would you suggest us to look at to ensure business continuity?
Okay, yeah, good question. So I see that there are actually three parts of it. First and foremost, if you are the employer, the founders or the owner, you have to be very realistic. That if you're talking about business continuity, are we talking about the business itself? Because usually when you're the owner, the business is equal to you. Or if you are basically, literally, everything is all about you. I mean, if you are talking about privately owned, I'm not talking about listed company. I think this is one aspect of it, is that if you are the owner yourself, when you talk about business continuity, then you have to realistically ask, when you talk about this, are you talking about the survivor is only you? Okay, that means, are you okay to let go your employees just to make sure that this is what we know as the business continuity? I think this is a very practical question that every business owner have to ask yourself. That means are there any other way that you have sort of exhausted before you actually let go employees, or before you start slice and dice your businesses? So this is one thing that any owner has to ask themselves sooner or later. As much as we can try to delay the burning of the cash, delay in probably sales or collecting money or whatever. End of the day, if you're the owner, you have to be very realistic that if it comes to this point, what's next? Okay, because my understanding is that some of my clients that we work with, the very first thing that they told us was that, okay, my company is in trouble, not because we don't have sales, but it's just that we cannot sell. Okay, why? Because we are considered as not essential. And in order to be essential business, then of course, naturally, you can hire the people, go back to the factories and do whatever is necessary. But when it comes to this situation where it's non-essential, you definitely need productions. You need things to run, and they can't. So when that is happening, meaning that your renters, everything is going to be pay for it. So when that comes to situations, you may have a project financing, you may have a loan. So when it comes to that, you have to ask yourself realistically, as an owner, are you going to let go a lot of other things just to save that business? Okay. Then the other aspects of it is that your employees, because why? Not all the employees are able to enjoy that a boss actually continue to pay them salary. So let's say a blue collar executive versus a white collar executive. A blue collar executive, if they don't do work, they probably won't get paid, or they are probably paid the very minimum, where a lot of them actually makes money probably from the OT that they have been working and running for years. So if a factory stops or production floor stops, that means they may be getting only the basic. But end of the day, to them, it's like, okay, they are stuck. Why? Because they may not even have enough money, may not have even sufficient money to even cover rents. I think this is very realistic, especially here in Singapore, where our cost of living is really one of the highest in the world. Okay, so if that is a situation, then there will be very realistic questions that the employees will to ask themselves: can you continue this way? Okay, I think this is much more worse if you happen to be an employee who is actually on the work permit, because it's not so much simple as quick and then that's it. Okay, because you may be a foreigner that is working here, so you get stuck with that kind of situations. Or even if there are situations like you may be a white collar executive, but you as a white collar executive, you tend to look into things like, okay, I may be paid, but should I continue to look for other jobs? I may be working for my boss now, I may be working for my company now. Should I continue with this? Because for all I know, I mean, I'm not blind. As an employee, I can probably see that the sales are actually slowing down. So if it happens to be the mid-management, or you happen to be the sales, or you happen to be the support team, then naturally you will probably be able to count, okay, if this thing is going to last another 3 months, will the company survive? If the company doesn't survive, what's next for me? Because I may be married with 2 kids and families to take care of. Then the third part is it comes back to one very big question here is, you still have a lot of things that you need to pay for, even if your businesses stops, like rental, your vehicles, all the utilities, all the power bills, everything, loans, your project financings, all these are still money. And all these are, I mean, as much as the bank can be very nice to you when they borrow you the money, I mean, usually, this is my perspective. Banks will usually lend you the money, not when you most need it. It's probably when you have the capability to return. Okay, then that's how they can finance it. But then again, realistically speaking, is that these are the people that will probably come after you. So if let's say you manage to survive for the 3 months, 6 months, then the question here is that you have to ask, is it worth it? Because the damages to your business, it may actually be best that you actually shut it down and have whatever balance that you have, actually make a compensations and then move on, rather than you continue it 6 months, 9 months later, the banks are all going to come after you, because somehow, somewhere, the businesses that you used to run may not exist anymore 6-9 months down the road. I mean, this is I just want to be as practical as possible, because our business continuity is not something like, let's just I mean, in Singaporeans, we have this thing called tahan a bit. Okay, there's a saying, you just hold on to it as long as you can. But if it comes back to bigger damages, you may not even have money to pay your debtors. You may not have money to pay your creditors. Sorry, I mean the other way around. You may not even have money to pay your salaries to the employees, or pay whatever renters, and then you also get yourself into a deeper trouble. So that is actually a spiral effect that may actually be happening. So I guess in terms of business continuity, you probably have to look into these 3 things.
Can I add on that Paddy's point?
Sure.
I think business owners, entrepreneurs tend to have this thing called optimism. So I think they need to be very mindful and do a reality check about their own optimism. Are they still too optimistic? Because sometimes the blind optimism can actually kill you as well. Yeah, I just want to add on that. Thanks.
Right, thank you. Okay, so since earlier on we actually raised the question of like going digital, so now it's not a matter of choice, but actually it's a must. So can I ask here, ever since the start of the pandemic situation, right, what is the most popular request by your client, or what you heard from the software development space?
Okay, yeah, well, actually the most common question is if they can pay their invoices later to me. That's actually the most common question.
That's true.
Yeah. But apart from that, Yeah, as many companies now in this situation see that there is a need to go online. I get many questions in that area, and especially how we can help them with that. And if you're thinking about going online, there's actually two things which you can think about. The first part for which you can go online is actually your sales and your services to your clients. And so that's actually the front of your house. And there's a second part for which you also can go online, and that is actually your internal processes. Because many people are in Singapore, kind of everybody is working from home. So some of the processes, they need a lot of interaction with your colleagues, etc., for which now the time might be there to also go online for those processes. So I'm talking about administrative processes, ERP kind of systems, and those kind of things. And so there's those two kind of types of going online at the moment, and especially the one with the web shops, with the e-commerce. That's a popular one now. And when you're talking about those things as a company, you always have to keep a couple of things in mind. First of all, are your products really still being bought at the moment? And there's many products which are popular, but there's also many products and services which currently no one is needing them. So think about that. Consider what kind of products you have, or what kind of products you can make by tuning a little bit, or what kind of services with which you can go online. That's one thing you have to consider. Another thing to consider is, can you still fulfill your sales when you get the sales on your web shop? Are you still able to fulfill them? Are you still able to get the products or the supplies to make your products at the moment? And are you still able to ship the products to your customers? Of course, if you have fully digitalized services like e-learning, like tuition, like these kind of things, then of course the fulfillment is rather easy, and then both the sales and the sales can all happen on the online platform as such. So that's it.
Thank you for sharing. So based on our past experience, every economic shock tends to leave a legacy. So in other words, the world will not be the same anymore after COVID-19, right? So I would like to ask the panelists here, so in your area of expertise, what kind of changes would you expect after the whole pandemic situation? So what is the future lies ahead for us, like post COVID-19? So perhaps we can, who would like to start first?
Yeah, we let the one who is a bit more elderly to start first. Busham, go ahead.
Elderly. No problem. I think generally is that of course there's a lot more restructuring of business. We still need to relook into their own business model. But I want to focus more on the people side. So I think generally there'll be more consciousness about workplace health in the whole place. And also I think leaders will be more, probably will be more mindful about adaptability of their team. Are their team able to continuously adapt and learn and grow? Because nothing can prepare anyone from this type of crisis, right? There's no plan that can work, but the whole idea is that given such a situation, how does the team can improvise? How does the team can adapt quickly and find hope and optimism in this confusion that we see? So I guess the way business look at it would be like, we will be embracing change more constant, even more often after this. And you need the whole workforce to be able to do that together with you. Yeah.
Okay, my take here is that I'm looking at three things. I think one of the aspects is that companies that tend to be larger size, they actually face more challenges than most others. They are probably like a startup or even a SME. I believe what may happen is that the larger corporations will probably look into decentralize it over time. That means the way they operate will probably be a bit more decentralized rather than running it on a very centralized business model. What I'm saying is that because some of the clientele that we work with are listed companies also, because they are really big, they are really gigantic, and when they operate, we are not talking about a couple of people. We are talking about multiple divisions, multiple departments in different countries, different time zones, and a whole bunch of all this. So when a country is shut down, the certain operations sort of like handicapped, and this is where I think that a lot of large corporations will probably have to relook the way they run it, especially when you're running in a very centralized method. So probably a decentralized method may actually works better for them, where they can be a bit more agile, can be a bit more flexible, and probably a bit more nimble in running it. Then another thing that I look at is also startups. I mean, this is where I came from, startups. I believe startups, in general, most startups will probably struggle a lot now, especially those startups that are sort of like stuck in the situations where they are probably in the MVP stage, okay, minimum viable product stage, or even they got themselves funded, but they need to reach a certain mandates before the rest of the funds will come in. I think this also will probably force a lot of people to actually relook into the way they raise their funds, the way they use their funds, and even probably even got them to rethink about how to be physically there for everybody when none of them can, but how to do it virtually, especially when you are trying to court the VCs, investors, but yet at the same time trying to create a product and sell the products. There's a certain startups, they definitely need to gather together, especially when it comes to R&D work. You can't be doing it alone, because there may not just be enough equipment for you to buy. I think this is also one of the biggest challenges, and most likely a lot of startups will probably evolve. I mean, those who survive. I mean, statistically speaking, the chances of any startups surviving first year, second year is already very low. Okay, and plus this virus going around and everything, I think it will probably will result in those that are very, very optimistic will probably survive a bit better. And another thing that the third thing that I look at is probably SME. I think the SMEs will probably have to be a bit more nimble. Nimble in the sense that they have to probably think like a startups to be as flexible as possible, but yet at the same time structure it like the large corporations, where they have to look at, hey, we have to scale and we have to probably rapidly go down to the markets and not to take a too cautious approach, which where startups actually tends to be a bit better, but large corporations tend to be a bit slower. So what I'm trying to say here is that I think startup, SME, and large corporations, when they come out, they will probably have to evolve a lot of their business processes, business model, and even the way they finance their business. So naturally, some will survive, and most importantly, those who survive will probably be able to run it a bit more better, but may not need as much manpower, because somehow, somewhere, after going for 1 month, 2 months of lockdown or circuit breaker, whatever you call it, I think we probably can multitask much better than as compared to previously.
All right, Hila, would you like to add on to the question? What kind of changes would you expect after the whole pandemic situation in your own area of expertise?
Okay, yeah. So actually, as I'm now going last, it also means I'm the youngest. So that is a compliment. So that is good. No, when I'm looking at the digital e-commerce section, what you have seen now and what you are still seeing in current during this pandemic is that, yeah, like we spoke about a little bit already, that many companies have gone to the e-commerce. They have initiated their web shops to sell their products online. And they have also done many other things like these panel discussions, like other online events, tuition, e-learning. All the companies, or many companies, have done a lot of things online, actually kind of being forced during this pandemic. But many of those companies and many of their clients will actually continue doing so. For the simple reason, many have now gotten a feel of it, and many of them are liking it. To shop online, already many people like it, but even during this pandemic, many more people have started to like it. So what you will see is that this was actually kind of a good boost again to boom up the e-commerce sector even more. And what I foresee is it will still keep on continue growing even after the pandemic. Of course, many people after the circuit breaker is stopped, many people will we love to go back to the shops again, but still many of them will keep on using the online ways of shopping, the online ways of learning, and the online ways of meeting as well. And especially for the last part, like the online meetings and the online events, that might even have a good impact on the environment as well, as people do not need to move around so much. So yeah, I see some positive things.
So how have yourself actually adapted to the needs of your client? Yeah, eventually I'll ask the other speakers.
Okay. Shall I continue?
Yeah, if you can.
Okay, yeah. Well, actually, we ourselves have adapted in that sense that even though we already done quite a lot of e-commerce development projects in the past, we have even boosted up the marketing and promotion of those services for the region here in Singapore, also the region in Europe, with clients we are also working. So that's one of the adaptation. There's another adaptation which is for the company. We were growing, and with the number of people, shortly I put a hold on that one. But actually now, because we are getting more requests already for in the e-commerce section and other sections as well, I'm actually thinking about kind of rehiring IT guys again, because it looks for us as an IT company quite okay, to be honest.
Yeah, so anyone in the participant list, right? If you are in the IT space, if you need a job, maybe you can talk to Hero. Maybe Boon Xiong can help you to package out the compensation benefits package.
Yes.
All right. Okay, thanks for sharing. So maybe move on to another speakers. Boon Xiong, would you like to share how have yourself adapt to the need of the client?
I think two parts of it. From a sales and marketing perspective, of course, we are doing more digital marketing now. We're trying to do it, but I think now it's like a no choice thing. You have to perfect it no matter what, right? And on the delivery side for our clients, we do more online advisory, more online facilitation. For us, it's a good thing because we have been trying to move our clients towards this direction for a while. To tell them that, look, you don't need me to be in front of you to help you. But they've been saying no until now. So hopefully after this whole situation, they are used to us talking to us without us being present physically. So that may help us as well. Yeah. I mean, for us also, I think in this juncture, a lot of our clients, for HR, we are around and we are needed, whether it's in good times and bad times. So this is in what we call bad times HR. So typically you look at things like restructuring, and also we advise them quite a lot on how to tap on the various government grants, because there's a lot of jobs and skills grants available. I mean, we are very familiar, work very closely with government agencies. So there's a lot of tips and tricks that they can use it to help to cut their operational costs and redeploy their people. But one thing that we do a bit differently is that, I'm blessed to have my team, is that my team actually come together and say, let's do a CSR project, a corporate social responsibility project. So what we do is that we launch this thing called savingjobs.sg, which is a free HR advisory channel. So we decided to do everything for free for everyone. Okay, the whole idea is that I think at this juncture, it is very important for us to focus on others. How can we add meaning to our work, rather than just looking at ourselves, feeling miserable, and how do we survive? So I think we take that stance, and I think the whole approach, the whole mindset and everything, that does help us to continue to keep up the momentum. I won't say we can grow as fast as what we have been growing in the last 3 years, but I hope we are not tapering down as well. So yeah, that's the wish.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that. I think any client who actually asks to meet face-to-face, right? Maybe you want to charge the 300 extra more.
Yeah,
just in case to pay fine. Just to pay fine.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
For my mask as well, right?
Yeah, maybe add on, top up a bit. Okay, so Paddy, would you like to share how have yourself adapt to the needs of your client?
Okay. Before the pre-COVID days, I usually will end up wake up at 6 o'clock, send my kids to the school, and then I'll probably start work at around 8 a.m. But this day I actually start a bit later. Partly it's because of Usually I start at around 8:30, and then it will be a lot of calls. I mean, in our line of work, it's always about solving problem. Especially at now, like now, I'm actually working with this other company, a Hong Kong-based healthcare company, where they have offices in Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Indonesia, and even Shenzhen, China. So most of the time that we do is that we talk a lot. Okay, we go almost all kinds of tools. We actually try it out. We use Zoom, we use Google Meet, and we use a whole bunch of all the different tools because of different clienteles. So most of the time, I will probably spend about 12 hours on the phone, talking, video, and after a while, you just like forget the whole. You just lost sense of time of what is going on. So basically, when you're solving problem for them, I mean, this is what we do, right? Structuring businesses, skill them up, and all this. So we spend a lot of time. I spend a lot of time talking to them, and then solving problem. And you actually have to solve problem on the go. It's not like previously where you have the luxury of sitting in the office. You have a huge whiteboard on the side, and then you have people on nearby. So when there's things that pops up, you can actually get someone to help you to do research and all this. And you can't, especially when you're on the video call now. I mean, you can't just like off the video and then start going around and say, hey guys, let hold on for a while. And you can't do that, and especially if you're solving things on multiple countries. So my days are usually daytime. I usually spend a lot on the calls, videos and everything. And then I have a couple of devices next to me. Sit down there and they just write down everything. And then by the time it comes down to almost dinner time, or if I do have time for dinner, then that is where I will get out of the room and then talk to the kids and put them to bed. And that is where I will continue to do the paperwork. In general, I could say that instead of the typical 10, 12 hours that I used to work, now I'm actually doing probably about 16 hours. And that is actually much more. I don't know whether you call it work-life balance or it's just that the work tend to be a bit more than the work. The work tend to be a bit more than the life. But interestingly is that the productivity actually goes up a lot. And we tend to be able to solve quite a lot more problem. First 2 weeks is of course a struggle, but after subsequently, I sort of sorted it out already. Because for example, my setting is always quite straightforward. In the study room, laptop in front of me, one laptop, one tablets with the stylus, and then 2 phones on the side, and then 2 external hard disks, and then one voice recorder, a physical voice recorder, so that everything you can always check back, and everything that you need, you can just write. And then after that, what you do is that you throw everything onto the cloud. So when you throw everything onto the cloud, end of the day, you have the whole entire summaries of all the to-do things that you can actually combine with voice, with notes, with videos and everything. And after that, you prepare. And but before I go to sleep, which is usually about 2 a.m., then I will just distribute all the necessary things out to anyone. So that's probably the things that I sort of do more than the pre-day.
Right. Thank you. So before we end this discussion, right, I would like to ask everyone, what is the one last advice that you would give entrepreneur to stay prepared for this kind of situation? So next time in the future, if this happened again, what should they prepare? Or even after this whole situation, what should they prepare to ensure that they won't be so badly affected? Yeah. So anyone would like to start first?
Well, I can start if I may.
Thanks.
I would say the keyword would be to diversify. And that would mean diversify with your types of clients. For example, have normal SMEs, have startups, but also have government-related clients, if possible, of course. Because, in these not so good times, the government and the government-related institutes and companies, they still tend to have dollars to do projects and to buy equipment and goods from you. So that's a good thing. Okay? So diversify your clients. On the other side, also diversify on your markets, on your geographical markets. Even though this pandemic is hitting the whole of the world, some of the countries, they are earlier coming out of this circuit breaker things, and their economy will start booming earlier, and other countries have gone into this situation in a later phase. And and also maybe for next situations, next pandemics. Some of the countries might not even be affected at all. So that means if you have clients in various regions, various countries, yeah, there might be the idea or the hope that there will always be clients in your portfolio who are not hit by a pandemic and are still able to purchase your services and products. So I think those key thing is to diversify, and of course if your products are fit for that and if your services are fit for that.
All right, thank you. So anyone would like to continue?
I can continue on that. I'll say there are 2 points. So one is that constantly experiment with new technology, because what we can see is that technology actually evolves slowly, and then suddenly the adoption is needed. So you have this slow curve, and then suddenly it just shoot up, right? So imagine that if you are not on any technology platform right now, you'll be scrambled for it. You don't know what to do. You don't have the whole process. You don't have the people. You don't have the skill sets to manage it. So I think many times in the past, many people say, hey, the technology has not matured. Should I even get into it? My advice is that go and dabble with it. Don't put too much resources, maybe 10%, but go and dabble with it, because once you continue experiment with it, when you need it, you have that that familiarity to put it into action very, very fast. So like even for ourselves in consultancy, it's not normal that most of us get our business through referral, not so much about digital marketing, but I think we have been doing that part. So when this one call for it, we know how to shift to the other platform without having a big issue. So that's one. Number two, I think at the end of the day, every business is built beyond technology, is built on people, right? So build a strong culture. When I say strong culture, it's really about focusing on the psychological capital of your team. What is this psychological capital about? Essentially, what it means is that in a time of adversity like this, you have to look at your team and see whether do they disband, when tough times people just leave, or do they actually come together, stick together closer? So if you have that strength in your team, that culture that you build, it'll bring you a long way. And you after this whole episode, I think whoever that left standing with the strongest team will be able to move up very, very fast. So I'll say that do that constantly. Yeah. Over to you, Paddy.
Yeah. Okay. My take here is that ask for help. Okay. Very simple. I mean, both gentlemen had already covered most of the things already. But I could say that we are in a tough situation. It's something that it never happened before. I think even in SARS, that was many years back, but it was not as crazy as it is now. I think ask for help. I think this is very important because having, especially for the past few weeks, we have a lot of companies that actually comes to us by referral or word of mouth. It doesn't matter. A lot of them came over to us asking for help. I mean, Blackstone also provide some free consultancies and stuff like that. You can go to the website and take a look. But I think it's most important is actually ask for help. Okay, why? 3 simple reasons. Number one is that it may be too late by then. If you just keep it to yourself, thinking that this is all yours, and everything is all about yourself, and you didn't know that almost everyone is facing the same, if not similar situation as you. Maybe running out of cash, no sales, how to manage the operations, employees are unhappy, customers are unhappy, ask for help. I think this is very important. Partly is because number one, you're not the only one. So sometimes when you ask for help, everyone who can share about it, you will find that you're not the only one. You're not alone. You're not working alone. Okay, this is one thing, because when you ask for help, for all you know, different advisors coming to you, different suggestions coming to you. It may be overwhelming, but then again, you have everybody comes in with good intention. So I think when the moment you start asking for help, you can actually pick up what may or may not be fitting to you. But at least you have someone who actually see it from a third party, see it from a different angle. Especially when you're stuck in the situations. Sometimes when you're stuck in the bad situations, you just can't think of any other solutions. And it's understandable because probably your anxiety comes in and everything. But when you ask for help, people start coming in, people start offering in. And then the next thing that I want to say is that offer help. I think this is very important. When we start offering help, doesn't necessarily mean that, hey, can I offer and what do I get back? I think this is one of the biggest problem. I'm a Chinese, okay. I think this is one of the biggest problem that I realized that a lot of Chinese have this mentality that, what do I get back? So probably I don't offer too many things. If I offer too many things, I may not get something back. I think this is also one of the challenges that a lot of businessmen also face. My take here is that ask for help, understand that when the suggestion comes in, absorb it, and then for all you know that some suggestion may not be suitable for you, but this suggestion you can actually absorb it, and then you can actually share with others. So extend your help also, because for all you know, if you don't have money, the other fellow may have need some help. You can always barter trade. So once you are able to do that already, once you get out of the whole entire situations, guess what? You may actually come out better, because some of the ideas may not work now, some of the suggestions may not work now, but they will definitely be useful, because everybody actually wants to offer help. So when you have that, you have a huge vicious cycles. And then this is also when you will know that, hey, guys, we can all get out of this together. So I think that's my suggestion.
Yeah, thank you for the sharing. So thank you, the panelists, for the insightful discussion this evening. So now we will take some questions. So if you have any question, please ask at the chat box. Thank you, Daryl, for the sharing. Like Daryl actually mentioned that probably you can look at your balance sheet leverage as well as your cash flow. Yeah. So anyone have any question? Okay, so we'll wait for probably maybe 20 seconds more. If we do not have any question, we will end the discussion. All right, Nancy actually asked, can anyone offer perspective from the US and Europe or Asia's side? So I suppose this is for the last question. So yeah, do you guys have any sharing from the probably US and Europe side, since we cover much about Singapore?
Well, if I may, I also have clients in Europe. So they are facing the same situation as we are here. The only thing is, in the meantime, in Europe, they are already in a few countries releasing the tightness. So there are some shops already opening up, which is, in effect, probably a good way for the business. But yeah, there's always a balance between the business, the economy side, and the medical side. But yeah, for a company like us, being an IT company and having clients there and clients here, it's a good thing, because now hopefully those clients will pick up their pace again, and being able to get more of their clients, so then we can help them more. So that would be a good thing, and that's where my previous point comes in about diversification. So,
all right. So Paddy, why are you suggesting businesses thinking about closing? So why business should think about closing?
Yeah, okay. I know it's a bit unorthodox. So here's the thing. I'm saying it from a business point of view, the business owner. So basically, it has to be very practical. So let's say, for example, if you are the business owner, you need to continue to pay your employees and stuff like that. You still have some cash left over, okay, and you do not know how long is this thing going to last. So let's just assume you said, hey, probably it will last only a month or 2 months. Okay, then you start burning the money, and sales are not coming in. As you continue to pay the salary and everything, and then some of them, one of the risks is that you run out of money, and you have no salary to pay the employees. I think this is also one of the biggest challenge. In fact, some of those guys, some of the companies that we are now talking to, they are really lending, borrowing from future money, meaning that they're actually now using money that they believe that if the sales comes in, this lockdown, gets stopped. Get lifted and everything. The future sales will actually start coming in. So in this case, why not I just continue to go in and get a loan, Then no matter how cheap the loan is, how the interest will be and everything, it's always tempting to continue to sustain the business. Of course, it's not an easy decisions to make, saying that, hey, because of this COVID virus, let me just shut it down, and that would be irresponsible. But what I'm giving the advice is that we have to be very practical, because the last thing that you want is that you owe lots of money to your employees, and not to forget, I mean, as an owner, I mean, like me, I'm myself as a serial entrepreneur. I invested in so many other companies. We also got to make very tough decisions, because at the end of the day, if you cannot pay salary to the employees, and then you start to delay 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, and then only to tell them, guys, sorry, we run out of money, we shut down. So can you imagine the fella that has been believing, the whole company believing in you and everything, they're stuck with 4 months of zero salary, and they're probably dipping into their own savings. And trust me, not everybody can survive for that long. And you got kids, you got families, and a whole bunch of all this kind of stuff. So I think the practical way is that you have to start thinking of what happens if I cannot make it in the next 3 months when my money runs out. So we're shutting down a company actually makes sense. And when they say shut down company, it doesn't mean the traditional way of you go to Accra, just say, guys, I'm sorry, everybody, we fired you. That's it. I give you a retrenchment package, or even for all you know, you don't even have money to pay them for the 30 days. Okay, and you just shut it down and then you move on. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that when you shut down companies, you can always look into a couple of things. First, you can always slice and dice. Is there any IP that you already have? Maybe your competitors may be interested in what you are doing, or maybe you can actually do a barter trade, do a joint venture, or probably even look into something that, hey, I have something that you need, and you have something that I need. How about we combine it together? There are a lot of ways that you can actually do that. Or even like one of the company that I used to advise not too long ago, about a month ago, we told them, because their cash flow is so tight, their cash flow is only about a month, and they're living based on 30 days credit, 60 days credit, that kind of situation. So I advise them, I say, simple, can you survive this? If you really cannot survive this, then probably what you can do is that you look into convert some of the employees. The good thing is that it's a small little fittings of only about 5 employees. I said, get all these 5 employees that you believe that they can actually, they have a lot of values. Turn them into your shareholders. Okay, not the ESOP stuff, but we are talking about turn them into shareholders. Why? Because the mentality will be very different. The thinking will be very different. That means they are not working for you anymore. Everybody is working for everybody. So you're talking about survivors, and then you can actually fit it in, close the company per se, but you convert it into more shareholders that everybody will run and everybody will survive. Why? Because if the company survive, means that it simply means that there's money coming in, there's sales coming in, and that will also allow you to retain the talents, and then you can always keep the group of customers, and then you can always come back again. I mean, this is how I see it when I talk about closing a company.
All right, thank you for sharing. We have quite a number of questions, so we will move on to the next question. So how do we convince partners to digitalize when the future is so uncertain? I think what Darren meant is, why should you spend on digitalizing when you don't know whether you can continue after that, or whether it will recover soon? So anybody would like to answer the question?
Well, if I may, I think it's a common risk if you are a businessman, if you are an entrepreneur. So you would like to make some calculative decisions if you're able to, with the knowledge you have now and with a little bit of prediction for the future. I think, based on those things, you need to decide as a businessman, is it worth the risk, and will I get my return on investment? That's also, but you can also look at what are other companies doing. I have given earlier a couple of of examples from China companies who went online with their web shop and who are doing a lot of live stream selling. And like I said, they are making more money than they have ever done with the brick and mortar shops. So also look at other companies in other countries, which maybe are a little bit ahead of us in this pandemic situation, like China or maybe Europe, and see what those companies are doing. And based upon all that information, try to predict the best situation and predict the best outcome for your company.
All right, thank you.
I add on that point as well. I just reflect one of our clients. What happened is that they were very hesitant about, because they create a luxury brand, all right, a fashion brand. So they're very hesitant about going digitalized. They say lost that customer personal touch. But under this situation, they got no choice. So they go online, and suddenly their sales actually improved a lot, and they didn't even expect it. So I think we all know that, you know, there's this group out there online. You can't see them, you can't touch them, but they're there. So sometimes it's all about taking a leap of faith. Try it, and you know what happened. Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, I'm actually buying more now online when I start at home.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for sharing.
And maybe if I may add, you can maybe reduce your own risk if you're taking into account that you are able to get some grants here in Singapore. There's the EDG grant, and there's also specific grants to commercialize, to e-commercialize your business and products. So make use of that, in which you are reducing your own company's risk in a way.
All right, yeah. So for the grants, right, Rina actually asked that question, but we can send you more information priorly later for the grant side. There are quite a number of grants for that. Okay, so I'll move on to the next question. How do you get a prospect and close them virtually via calls or video conference call in the times of this kind of crisis when everybody is busy?
Probably I start first. Okay, for our kind of line of work, it's mainly word of mouth referral. I think this is also the part where because you don't get to see the person as much as in physical form. So even if you want to do the videos and everything, it still somehow you still lack of that emotional kind of physical engagements. So I think one of the way that you can always do it is that first and foremost, you have to understand that the competition is actually very stiff now because almost everyone is now virtual. So the choices is much more than previous. But at the same time, it also means that your potential client is also much more because they are all captive audience, at least physically in their house. I think a lot of things that you can do is that I think going social media is definitely a must. But I think end of the day, it's all about your content and what are your deliverables. And most importantly, it's also the kind of endorsement that a good customers can give to you. Because if you have a real good reference, this usually will speak volume. For example, let's say you have a listed companies that actually work with you closely. Naturally, you can always use this as a sort of batch of credentials that everybody will like, okay, well, that's interesting because somehow, somewhere, you're still managing this particular clientele, even in these kind of situations. And you can always get the quotable quotes from them, probably share a bit more on the case studies, because it's now no more about just verbal. Now it's a lot of us are all very physical, very visual now. Okay, I mean, if you want to engage sales and all this, I think the preference will probably not be a voice, will probably be a video. And then this is where all the settings has to come in quite in place. So that this will actually allow engagement to be much easier so that at least they know that, okay, yeah, we all start. But here's the thing, what is the value? And then when you're talking to the fellow over the video, you can always do a reference and say, let me just bring you this particular client that I'm actually working with. They just pull him in. I've been doing that quite a lot, actually. I talk to an existing client and they say, hey, there's this guy that I'm actually talking to and I'd like to get you to sort of endorse. Is it possible? So we're talking halfway. I say, hey, why don't you wait and I'll wait? And then I just add the fella into the video call. And then the fella, oh, okay. So he comes in and then guess what? So straight away, you can get this so-called potential seller and your clientele, potential customers of yours to talk to your existing client. And then you can do a 4-way, 5-way video calls and then they can all start talking to them. And guess what? If they're happy with you, they will start selling for you. They were like, hey, yeah. Talk to this guy. This guy had managed to help me to deliver this and that. And that is actually something that is probably not possible if we are all not stuck at home now. I mean, I don't know. I don't used to sell that. I can't do that when I was last time walking around and then give a call to the other fellow because now I know that the other fellow is also like me, stuck at home. So if this is the case, this is actually a very good selling tools that I'm using now.
All right. So we will take the one last question because time is running up. So with the work from home situation, how should employees best look into reviewing, best look into reviewing and evaluating employees' performance? Because you cannot track right now visually, so how can you do that? So maybe we can ask Boon Siong on this, since you are expert in the HR side.
The HR area, right?
Yeah.
I guess that first thing is that the leader, the bosses have to change their mindset from managing tasks to managing through outcome. So I think they must be very clear about the goals they want the team to achieve, and give them more free hand to achieve that, because now everything's on virtual, so you can't really monitor them. I mean, of course, I have extreme bosses that they will say, you know, you have to log into Zoom whole day and work. I want to see your face. But that's a bit extreme. But most of it, what we do is that convert it into a more goal-based target. And even in Align, what we do is that we have a daily huddle and weekly huddle, we call it. So essentially what it means is that we have a weekly goal that everyone commit to achieve, and a daily goal of reporting and keep it updated. So that to some extent, we want the accountability and also the empowerment of responsibility go back to the employee. And of course, here we are assuming that you have the right employee. If you have someone who wants to shirk, who take advantage of it, then I think he shouldn't be in your team in the first place. Yeah, you should talk to us if that's happening. But anyway, the whole point is that I think you need to look into your team performance in a different way, and learn to let go. I've learned to let go a lot these days. You know, no more micromanaging. Okay? Yeah, we become more zen, I guess. Huh, Paddy?
I can share a bit. Okay, for example, like this company that I'm working in Hong Kong. We have teams in both Shenzhen and Hong Kong and a couple of others. The office start at 9 o'clock. So in Shenzhen and Hong Kong, they already, I mean, they are physically in office, but I'm physically at home. So I think the trust level here is more of like, everybody are adults. You should trust them. And until the day they somehow give you otherwise, I mean, I know that then that is where you probably have to drill down. But for me, I rather know, because like the team that I'm handling now in Shenzhen is about 20 plus people. So and you know, I don't, here's the funny thing, they are all in office where I'm physically, because I can't fly. So if I can't fly, I think should they be checking on me or should I be checking on them? I think end of the day is that it's the results that I'm looking at. So what I do is that I just manage by, I mean, for this particular company, we manage by the results, managed by the milestones, so that and then if you have to check on the certain milestones, you can easily know who is the person who is in charge. Talk to the fella, and the fella is supposed to give you back almost instantaneous answer when you call them and talk to them. So this is where you know that people are actually working on it. But once you trust them, you have to really trust them. And it's not like, you know, like, I don't know, I mean, I have some other clienteles, they just have to have everybody checking in physically using WhatsApp to check in their locations and everything. I mean, even before this pre-lockdown thingy, I think it doesn't work, because it's so easy. It's so easy to fake the locations these days. I mean, so I think the trust has to be there first. If you don't trust them, don't expect them to trust you. I think this is how it works.
Yeah. So Hila, you must be used to it, right? Since there's a huge team in Vietnam, so you have been managing them virtually for quite a while.
Yeah, correct. We are in the IT sector and we are used to doing this. Indeed, I have a headquarters here in Singapore and obviously in Vietnam. And we are working remotely all the time. And it's simply a matter of the predecessors mentioned already. It's a matter of trust. And at the end of the day, you will see the results and the communications are ongoing and etc. But it's simply a matter of trust, and it all works fine. And must also add to that, in the IT sector, there's already a lot of offshoring and outsourcing ongoing of remote teams. So it's quite common in our area to have a remote team from the Netherlands working in Vietnam or here in Singapore or whatsoever. So it's quite common for us and we are used to it, and yeah, it's working fine. So that's why the impact on us is a little bit less.
That's good, that's good. All right, so we have come to the end of the discussion today. So thank you once again for joining us. So if you'd like to join our other events, right, please follow us on our Facebook page for more updates. All right, so have a great evening, and also Actually, like Align Group, we also offer like complimentary 30-minute consultation. So if you want to ask about HR, you can talk to Boon Xiong or the link that.
Otherwise, ordinarily, I'll offer you a drink. I know somebody mentioned that. Yeah, I do have that whiskey bar, but unfortunately, in circuit breaker, I cannot offer you. So we'll drink over the Zoom call.
Yeah, we will remember it. Next time, using this video, we will get a drink for you. Can we claim that at your whiskey bar?
Sure, let me know.
All right. Okay, so for us we are more towards the business in general, like, you know, how can you pivot your business? So if you are struggling, we will send you a link. It's called Virtual Business Clinic. So come and talk to us for 30 minutes. Yeah, we will discuss a little bit on that. All right. So thank you, everyone, and we shall end the discussion. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. See you.